So I just finished looking through the first report and all the reports here, and I wanted to preface this video with the fact that all of it is going to be reading. It is a very long video of long reading. It's very interesting because it does explain a lot of pieces of the game that are kind of backstory to the game, but if you're not interested in just hearing reading for about 30 minutes straight, I highly recommend you skip to the next video instead of watching this one. Okay, let's start by looking at the first report, which is apparently a propaganda report. Top secret black clearance only, Federal Bureau. Photograph of unidentified markings made at crime scene, apparently. Firebox is the location. Linguistics lab report, clue 1. The map to question leads to the center. Internalized in the question of the soul. One path in, one path out. A question that spans both center and frontier. Summary. Mix of ancient and contemporaneous languages, both alphabetic and ideographic, with a series of Arabic numerals. Significant portions of text are illegible due to either poor orthography, intellectual diminishment of writer, or lack of skill in writing the language. Odd features include presence of quite clear words in, I think it's Mycenaean? Mycenaean? Possibly? Okay. Japanese characters and the aforementioned Arabic numerals, matched with seemingly meaningless hieroglyphics. Largest group of recognized characters are representations of what seems to be Minoan Linear A or Linear B script, otherwise known as Mycenaean. Ventris has deciphered Linear B, and lab's best efforts at transliteration and analysis appear below, though innumerable attempts have been made to decipher Linear A. Success has been minimal. Since these images are imperfectly inscribed, lab's confidence level in translation approaches only 60%. More samples need to be acquired for further study. Linguistics database inquiries have uncovered previous similar linguistic variation symbols. Upon further inquiries, through Command for Access, FBI Black Ops Command has interceded and stopped all further translation work by Linguistics. Gag directive is currently in place. All further inquiries have been denied. Analysis. Based on handwriting analysis and use of multiple and obscure languages, writer has pretensions and delusions of grandeur. While great effort is made to conceal the meaning, it has been determined by cryptography that the piece is most likely double-coded and is not meaningless. Location of find of piece is significant due to crime severity. Evidence exists that writer of piece may be severely mentally disturbed and extremely dangerous. Further samples are needed to understand the meaning of the translated components. Further inquiries into cryptography for support have been denied. FBI Black Ops Command has terminated their further involvement in this project. Inquiries require double black clearance. Interesting. Let's check out the second propaganda report here. Federal Bureau. Audio tape incident at Linguistics lab. Medical brain scan of Dr. Edgar Strever. Linguistics lab report summary. New samples of cryptic writing have been used to further translate initial piece of evidence. Additional samples have either have been either unintelligible or so fragmentary as to be meaningless. Below are all translated fragments so far found. The revised translation of original piece now reads, Clue 1. The map to righteousness leads to the center, internalized in the whole of the soul, one path in, one path out, a thread that spans both, center and frontier. Clue 2. The question become the force of darkness and contain the force of question light. Analysis. Dr. Edgar Strever, before his unfortunate demise, had this to say about the Creed. It seems to be some kind of religious statement. The map is a path to somewhere. There are two separate paths, and these paths are a thread that spans both the frontier and something else. In the language system, frontier is an amorphous word. It means other, outer, but from the original pictograph, it also seems to mean human. Very odd. The two completely translated lines are of especial interest. Note that the recently discovered fragments work well within this interpretation. Note, Linguistics department will be understaffed until quarterly personnel review. Incident involving the death of 2 researchers is being investigated. See internal affairs, blah blah blah. So apparently 2 of the researchers died? Oh, it looks like we've got the internal affairs report. Let's check it out. Agent Frank, I guess Szymanski, report. I was called to the scene of the Linguistics lab building at approximately 8:30 p.m. Saturday, June 18th. I witnessed the body of Edgar Strever on the ground by the front door. He had obviously fallen from a great height. A broken window on the 7th floor indicated his path. Strever seemed to have died upon impact, confirmed by FB coroner report that. Upon gaining access to the 7th floor, I determined that the broken window was in the Linguistics conference rooms. I was met by Dr. Theodore Fildorsky, who reported the incident. Dr. Fildorsky has been cleared of the matter. Lying within the conference room was the body of Dr. Joshua Hillman. He had been struck repeatedly on the head and neck with a blunt object, later determined to be a metal stool. Item 14, Security Audio Tape Transcript. Time code is 8:05 to 8:20 p.m. Hillman, Dr. Strever, I need the whiteboard. Can I erase this stuff? Strever, unintelligible. Hillman, I said, can I erase the whiteboard? Muffled sound determined to be Dr. Strever dropping to his knees. Good Lord, man, pay attention. I need the whiteboard. The guy's dropping to his knees. You don't yell at him. You should say, hey, are you okay, kind of thing. Anyway, Strever, sure, whatever. What? What are you doing? I'm erasing the whiteboard. You said I could. I need it for... Idiots! No! Dr. Strever, I'm sorry, but I did ask. Are you okay? Now he asks if he is okay. Weeks of work. I was so close to deciphering the directional words. Their pattern had indicated, Why? Why did you erase the board? Because, The tape deteriorates into a series of blunt thumps followed by anguished screams and interspersed with howls of rage. Eventually, the beating stops. There are sudden running footsteps and we hear the crash of glass. Dr. Strever evidently used a metal stool to beat Dr. Hillman to death. Upon Dr. Hillman's death, Dr. Strever ran and jumped through the closest window and fell to his death. Dr. Edgar Strever had no previous incidents of aberrant behavior. Colleagues indicate he was under a normal stress due to his caseload. Upon review of the audio tape, we have detected an odd, unidentified sound heard in the background. I also requested an autopsy of Dr. Strever. Its results and the tape have been classified by Black Ops Command. The penetration of central headquarters by an outside force is certainly a serious issue. Black Ops Command has deemed all further inquiries classified. Interesting. So it sounds almost like Strevor here, during all of this going on, was influenced by whatever kind of sonic influence that these things with metal have. I don't know why he was getting influenced by them or why they would be around where he was, but I also don't quite understand them at this point. But I'm hoping there's enough of these documents that kind of unravel the mystery. I'm quite interested in these so far. Anyways, Federal Bureau. Analysis of metal piece, unidentified markings made at crime scene, Linguistics lab report. So these lab reports are unlocked as we find metal pieces. So basically what's being said is each of these metal pieces kind of have this stuff on them, and they're trying to identify what's going on with these things. That's pretty interesting. I'm enjoying this. But anyways, further developments have occurred in the linguistic analysis of the Creed, previously referred to spectrographic analysis of Dr. Edgar von Strever's erased whiteboard enabled reconstruction of his linguistic worksheet. The severely understaffed linguistics lab, they keep saying that, we're going to be severely understaffed because 2 people died. It's still understaffed because 2 people are dead. Anyway, has managed to decipher directional words in the original piece. The revised translation of the original piece now reads, Section 1. The map to righteousness leads to the center, internalized in the whole of the soul. One path in, one path out. A thread that spans both, center and frontier. The righteous become the force of darkness, and contain the force of weakened light. Section 3. The question of truth brings... Okay, I guess this is just their translation's not so great. Brings the truth to dark. The question of truth will win the question conflict. The question may question the tool. Analysis. The first 4 lines are now complete, except for one word which is repeated in different form in lines 1 and 5. Lines 1 and 5. So, center? I guess. There is a map that connects the center and the frontier. Yeah, I'm guessing it's center. Which could still mean the habitat of humanity. There is one path in, one path out, but a thread spans both, which sounds like it's really one path, but you can go back and forth on the path between the 2 states. Becoming and containing is still difficult to ascertain, but this group use the power of sound as their strongest tool. Their goal is to drive out the humans. Internal arguments state this could also mean they attack the frontier. The axe of the bull shall do something, separating one group from another, but also enabling the groups to join. This acknowledgement may imply that only the darkened have learned the audio capability to influence humans. This analysis equates with no known religious, technocratic, or socialistic cult in the Bureau files. Further inquiries through the Back Ops, I'm guessing Black Ops database, regarding the linguistic elements discovered thus far, have uncovered the following DCU report. Only the deemed relevant lines were cleared by Black Ops. So we've uncovered a report. Duo report, apparently. Washington, D.C., FBI, locations, file box. Oh. Did it really say firebox earlier, or did I read that wrong and it was supposed to be file box? Or maybe it was misspelled firebox and it was supposed to be filebox. But anyway, recent series of unsolved grisly killings in the south central downtown sections was the catalyst for DCU involvement. Deep undercover operative codename Harp was assigned. Addendum: Duo that operative report conclusions. Restricted extended codename Harp, that's a tongue twister, was assigned to the Deep Crimes Task Force in January. His operational reports began to deteriorate approximately 9 months later. Last operational report submitted was April 2nd. Harp was killed on July 14th in a gun battle with local police. Cultist evidence was found near the scene. Linguistics, psychological, and Black Ops reviewed all DCU reports for information that may pertain to the cultists. The following are excerpts that pertain to our suspects' inquiries. February 13th. The local PD have begun to pull back from direct conflict with local sickened. Interesting. So he's calling the people who are fighting sickened. Along 16th Avenue and Crosstown Street. There appears to be no organized leadership within the sickened. They seem to get crazier and crazier with each passing day. But there also seems to be growing purpose to their actions. They're watching closely. I'm watching. Something else is watching? And this is in German. That's not the same thing, because that's the 25th right there. I'll be right back. I'm going to check on what this might actually mean. Also, there's an image. Let's check that out. Some guy sitting in a dumpster of some sort here, and that looks like what we see on the metal. The details on the metal. Interesting. Alright, well, I'll be right back, and hopefully I'll have figured out some semblance of meaning to what this is. I'm sure some of my German viewers can read this and say what it actually means after I say what I think it means. I'm kind of amused because I've noticed that in some of these videos you can hear my neighbor's dog barking outside. I find that kind of funny. Anyway, rough translation of what I've found out so far is this guy seems to have been sick today, which I'm guessing is the 25th, and the 4th laughed as she died of the injury. I'm not quite sure what that means. And he couldn't help civilians, and he's regularly getting headaches. The sick are taunting him, and they like to attack and retreat over and over again. During the attacks, they scream at him and would give them pain. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be they give him pain or they give them the pain. And then something about someone should tell them that they shouldn't do that. I don't know exactly what's going on there. Please, someone who is German, translate this in something better than what I can. Alright, let's go on. June 27th. The sickened have broken down into groups. Their structure is based upon psychosis rather than ethnic or crime preference. The ones who shout incessantly have fought off the scavengers. Neither group quiets down until the headache wave comes through or when fresh meat shows up. I blacked out watching them. At least, I think I blacked out. When I awoke, 3 dead birds were in my pockets, one of them missing their head. I am asking for a recall as soon as possible. September 3rd, we fought off another scavenger push. Rebar is my friend. Rebar helps me keep my place. My head takes in the music. My headaches are gone. My head takes in the music. And I keep the beat with my rebar. The Pounders are family. So at some point, he stops having headaches and starts thinking that the sonic emissions are music, and he's just attacking with the music, keeping a beat. So it's not really hate necessarily. I don't know exactly what it is that they're projecting into people, if they're controlling them directly to want to attack people, or exactly what's going on there. Anyway, December 12th, it was there and then it wasn't. It was chattering, chittering, gleaming, and was enveloped in nothing. I want to pound. It wants to pound with me. Is this supposed to be him or just someone he took a picture of? I don't know. Whoever it is looks pretty messed up and needs some sun. April 2nd. It isn't my fault. It isn't my reason. It isn't my blame. They drive to what they want, what you want, what I want. The buzzing soothes. The buzzing stays as I stay. I stay. I stay. The bird knows best when roosting in its nest. And continuously, the bird knows best when roosting in its nest. Alright, this guy is definitely going crazy. Conclusion. Upon inventory of DCU Harp's belongings, he was found to have the skulls of over 60 birds in his pockets. Autopsy showed brain degradation of prefrontal lobe, as detected in cases this and this. It's almost like they're naming them bird cases, because of this BR and BRD opening for the cases. I don't know. Cultists apparently show strong sonic control techniques that could potentially influence any human being. Black Ops and R&D are doing archival research for any previous contacts. Note, remainder of this report has been deemed classified double black. All further inquiries into this report need to be made through Black Ops Command Administrative. I guess this is showing the brain degradation here. Interesting. So yeah, as the brain degrades, probably that's what's causing the headaches. It's because your brain is literally being destroyed until they can take control of your actions, more or less. Interesting. Alright, let's check out the fourth report, which is the final report. Federal Bureau, Washington, D.C. Filebox, yeah, if that said Firebox before, it's supposed to be Filebox for sure. Anyways, a final report on Creed, photo of Cincinnati torso cutter, photo of Providence prowler. Linguistics lab report, final analysis has been completed on the Creed previously referred to that. Clue 1. The map to righteousness leads to the center, internalized in the whole of the soul, one path in, one path out, a thread that spans both center and frontier. Clue 2. The righteous become the force of darkness, and contain the force of weakened light. Clue 3. The sound of truth brings, it's still not quite translated, brings the truth to dark. The sound of truth will win the unending conflict, though the others may wield the tool. Clue 4. It is only the darkened righteous that experience its worth, showing the human fodder as those of true dark center, those of our being, of unbeing, and undark, will follow in loss of ending war. Clue 5. We are the strongest. The axe of the bull shall cleave the unholy from those who are righteous, and yet cleave them again back to the one true way. The center in death they give, in death they take. Satori. Satori, if I recall correctly, is a Zen term meaning sudden enlightenment, basically. I know that one. Alright, analysis. With the Creed now translated, our understaffed linguists have managed to cobble together a potential analysis. The creed definitely seems to be the centerpiece of the cult, and we have found additional versions of it in different languages and even coding systems. The text indicates that the cult believes there is an outer edge or frontier which is inhabited by normal humans, hence the confusion between frontier and human in previous linguistic lab reports. The center is occupied by the cult. Section 1. A thread spans these two areas with one path in, one path out of the center. The righteous are identified with the cult members. They identify with darkness and identify with others, or identify others with the light. Section 2. The righteous become the force of darkness and contain the force of weakened light. The righteous refer to those humans who are influenced to commit the acts of savagery and seemingly go insane. The becomes the force of darkness tells us that those who are influenced to become part of the force. What? Why do you have a period there? That seems like that should go on to say something else. But anyways, I guess people are influenced to become part of the force rather than being part of the force, so they use the sonics to make more of themselves, kind of thing. Interesting. So that could indicate why we see Thomas with the medal in the end. Anyways, the description of darkness seems to have a triple meaning. One, these cult members will use the darkened areas to hide. Two, the darkness is also a state of mind for the cultists, and a state of mind they influence those around them to achieve. Yeah, so basically they're in that state of mind, and then they're influencing Thomas to have that state of mind. 3. The darkness implies a section of a greater whole. And contain the weakened light is also a double-meaning passage. The weakened light is reference to both the subculture within the cult that opposes the philosophy of the DCB, as well as the weakened state of the humans themselves. What the hell's the DCB? I don't remember reading that. Is it the Dark Cult Brotherhood, or... I totally don't remember anything like that when I was reading this. Maybe someone can enlighten me because I just don't remember it. Anyways, Section 3. The sound of truth brings the truth to dark. The sound of truth will win the unending conflict through, though the others may wield the tool. So that part is still just not quite translated very clearly. The righteous cult use their audio capabilities as their greatest force, their singular tool. Again, the double meaning exists. The truth is a reference to proving themselves to the undark, the light. The truth is also reference to the influence of the humans themselves. The audio influence of the DCB has strong brainwashing capabilities upon humans. Therefore, the sound of truth will help win the unending conflict. Conflict? Conflict! That's a misspelling. Alright, against the undark. This implies that from the ancient linguistic makeup of the creed that this war between the light and darkened has been going on for probably thousands of years. Huh, interesting. From examination, this audio utilization is both humanoid and mechanization in origination. Yeah, we found that when we were pulling the stuff off of him, his audio utilization was growing louder at some points, but when we pulled all of it off, Thomas was able to kill him. But possibly not before he was being influenced to have the darkness in himself. Anyway, they acknowledge that others, the undark, may possess this power. Ah, so I'm guessing Thomas is considered the undark, and they were trying to get him to become darkened, and that's why these things are actually following Thomas around, more or less. Anyways, but the only but only the darkened may experience the truth, which is the ability to use the sound. This acknowledgement may imply that only the darkened have learned the audio capability to influence humans. Yeah, that's what I took from that. Section 4. It is only the darkened righteous that experience its worth, showing the human fodder as those of true dark center, those of our being, of unbeing, and undark, will follow, or fallow, in loss of ending war. The first line shows that this audio influence is what shows humanity's true nature, that humanity is as dark as those who seemingly want to prove this to the undark. So basically they're trying to prove that all of humanity is violent? Is that what this is all about? I don't know quite what the proof is here that they're trying to get. Anyways, Section 5. The axe of the bull will cleave the unholy from the righteous. Interestingly, cleave is the one English word that has two very distinct opposite meanings. It can mean, 1, to cut apart and to separate, and 2, to join together. The use here is indicative. The axe of the bull shall cleave the unholy, the humans, from the righteous, the cultists, but shall also cleave them back again, or them again, back to the one true way, or that is, bring them back into the fold. The fold here is identified as the center, which we have seen is where the cultists identify as their habitat. This again identifies that those who are undark are most likely of the same cult of the DCB. At some previous point in their timeline, these two factions split for an ideological reason based upon humanity itself. But the final two lines indicate how this bringing back into the fold is to be accomplished through death. And through death, one achieves Satori, or enlightenment, or peace. Yeah, exactly what I thought it was. A search of all other extant serial deaths cases with similar elements to what has been found in the Creed has revealed several additional cases with strong similarities. We found traces to grisly cases that went back, or that went as far back as 1908, the year that the Federal Bureau of Investigations was founded. Interesting. So either the FBI was founded because of these happening, or they were founded because they were trying to cover it up. Not quite sure exactly what's going on there. Anyways, Black Ops Central Command has intervened and deemed all information as coded double black. Further inquiries through the evidence did uncover 2 photographs. But yeah, this is very interesting, where it's basically showing that the FBI is covering up what's going on as if perhaps they're part of the cult, and they're trying to keep it hidden from people who are trying to investigate it. So the only way they could do that and make sure that the people who are investigating it don't become suspicious is by becoming the people who are investigating and employing other people to investigate. Therefore, they can cover things up and people don't exactly notice. But the more that they try to cover up this stuff, the more it looks like they're incriminating themselves. But I don't know. I don't know exactly how this is meant to be viewed here. Let's see what else we've got. Addendum, this, January 18th, 1934, a Cincinnati torso cleaver is a serial killer never found, targeted derelicts and homeless people in inner cities. Final count was 24 victims, decapitated the bodies, removed the limbs, and dropped off the torsos in public dumps. Crime scene photo near phosphorus plant captured strange symbols etched in the cement wall. Interesting. So we've got similar symbols to the metal, which is what was translated to see what was actually being said on the metal through these documents. So it almost looks like part of the sonic, the audio influence makes you want to write this creed down. That's very interesting. Alright, let's see what else we've got. November 21st, 1961. Providence Prowler, another serial killer. Committed apparent suicide in holding cell, awaiting trial. Targeted elderly men and women. Final count was 13 victims. Strangled his victims, then scalped them once dead. Crime scene photo in jail cell captured strange symbols etched in stone wall. And there we have the symbols again. Very interesting. You know, the more that I read these documents, it really feels like something straight off the SCP website. That's pretty cool. I like that. I'm a fan of the SCP website. Not the games, but the website. The website's pretty cool.